Welcome to Streaming Into the Void, where we discuss the streaming news for the week ending May 31st, 2026. I'm Kim Hollis, digital marketing expert and Walt Disney World extreme heat survivor.
We lost so many tourists that week.
Indeed. With me is Tim Bridey, content creator, gamer, and the best man.
Yeah, so it was my brother's wedding last weekend. That's why I wasn't on. And it was a bit of a surprise to me because I just thought he had said, "Oh, you're the best, man."
You are the best, man.
Aw, thanks.
Also, David Mumpower, author of Disney Demystified and streaming media analyst, who was asleep 5 minutes ago.
Tim obviously survived the heat more than me. On one day during our theme park visit at Disney, the actual heat index was 109 degrees, and we were there all day.
Yeah, we're pretty dumb. And the podcast is produced and edited by Raul Buriel, who's already in Chicago, in mind, if not in body.
Mega Mewtwo, Kim.
I was just going to say, go get that Mega Mewtwo.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta get it. You gotta get it. This week, our streaming news is box office news. Tim?
Oh, hi, guys. So I was away, as I mentioned. So we must definitely be talking about The Mandalorian and Grogu then, right? That was a Star Wars movie. It had to do massive business. Let me just check the Friday box office here. What's this obsession thing? Why is the Baby Yoda movie in third? What is going on?
We've been seeing hints of this for some time now, like when we saw YouTuber Matt Pat appear in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie and the memes that drove the success of Barbenheimer and Gentle Minions and Chicken Jockey in the Minecraft movie. But things have really escalated in 2026 with the success of Markiplier's Iron Lung, which just went on sale last week on premium video on demand on YouTube Movies. And this week is taking things to a new level as the internet meme, The Backrooms, is set to make box office history, and YouTuber Curry Barker's obsession won't be far behind. And it's worth noting that Fathom Entertainment is releasing the final episode of the YouTube and Netflix sensation The Amazing Digital Circus to theaters next week. Fathom says it's set a pre-sale record for this theatrical release. It really looks like Hollywood has found a way out of its rut of blockbusters and sequels by mining Gen Z for new original content that's also bringing in new audiences, and that is writ large at the box office this weekend.
So we need to throw out some numbers for a moment. 2 weeks ago, we did not discuss box office. We looked at the numbers during our pre-show and just thought it was a really quiet weekend before the upcoming holiday weekend. Some movie called Obsession was third place for the weekend. 17.1 million is what it earned, which is quite good for a cheaply made horror movie.
How cheap are we talking, Tim?
You could file this one under extremely cheap because it's apparently only cost about $1 million.
So all in with marketing and everything, they're saying this was a $10 million output, and in the first weekend, it got 80% of that back. So that is extraordinary on a quiet level, but it's not quiet anymore, is it, Tim? Now it's shouting.
No. So after some pretty decent weekday earnings, it's Second Friday, which you guys recorded on Friday last week, so we didn't have this information, was a bit over $6 million. That was just a 13% Friday to Friday decline. That's ridiculous in and of itself. And the second weekend, just Friday to Sunday, let alone it being a holiday weekend, was 23.9 million. So it increased 39% from opening weekend. That is just something that does not happen anymore.
We really only see that in instances like, let's say, The Sixth Sense, where a horror movie catches lightning in a bottle so much that it taps into the zeitgeist, and suddenly everybody's like, ooh, have you seen Obsession yet?
Oh, and by the way, The Sixth Sense was 1999.
I was just going to say, that was 1999.
Yeah.
So,
And we're still talking about it because it's that rare of a box office behavior.
Oh, by the way, it has $8 million for this Friday. Wait a minute. That's also increasing. What is going on? Oh, my God.
It made the same on Friday as it did in its first weekend, which was 2 weekends ago. That's what you're saying?
Yes. This is its third Friday, and it's still increasing. This is one of the wildest things that we've seen in the box office in many, many years, and that is not any sort of exaggeration.
This is something Hollywood doesn't discuss often these days. This is profitable. Do you remember when films were profitable, Tim?
Oh, but we might have to go back to 1999 for that as well. Yeah, it feels like.
They're going to have Obsession 2 and 3 filmed by next week. I mean, let's be honest here.
Seriously. I have no idea what it is about this movie. I know it's positively reviewed, but yeah, by the way, it's ahead of The Mandalorian and Grogu on its third Friday against that movie's second Friday when it made, oh my gosh, this is just breaking my brain as to how the word of mouth that has just taken off for this movie. This is unprecedented. This is going to be at 100 million by the end of the weekend, which just no one saw that coming. It could earn as much as 200 million.
One of my favorite stories, I reference this occasionally, you know it, is that when The Phantom Menace came out, for whatever reason, Hollywood sacrificed a film called The Love Letter to the Movie Gods by releasing it the same weekend. This is like if The Love Letter had absolutely eviscerated Phantom Menace. That's what we're looking at here, because the film that was made for 1 million in week 2 is out earning the film that was made for 160 million. And Star Wars is going to be profitable, I think. I'm not as clear now that it's had an 80% Friday to Friday drop. I think it's still going to be profitable in theaters, but it's no longer certain. Obsession is absolutely bitch slapping it. And that's not even the story this weekend, is it?
Right. We're talking about the number 2 movie right now. By the way, the number 1 movie, as Raul mentioned, is Backrooms, which earned 38.4 million on Friday. And you would not have been faulted for thinking that would have been maybe its opening weekend or maybe its total gross.
That would have been a terrific total gross, wouldn't it?
Yes. That was just one day. Now, a lot could happen with regards to its Saturday and Sunday, but it could actually open higher than the freaking Baby Yoda movie. Hollywood has been turned completely upside down in the last 3 weeks. What the hell is happening?
Well, we know what is happening, don't we, Tim? Because this is what we're always stressing, and Hollywood continues to resist. What is the best kind of film to make if you're new to the industry?
Cheap horror.
What is Obsession, Tim?
Very cheap horror.
Right now, Obsession, very cheap horror made for $1 million, has box office of 86 million and will probably be over 100 million by the time people listen to this podcast. Backrooms was made for how much, Tim?
About 10 million.
About 10 million. It's going to open a factor of 8 beyond that, which means it too is profitable. Hollywood keeps making these 9-figure films and it doesn't have a target audience it can identify for any of them. It is just blindly trusting the algorithm to say, hey, maybe people will want to see this. And we keep stressing that's not the way you do it. People need to sell things to people. It is basic business and it hasn't changed. The people who are watching attend films now, Tim, what do they have in common with every other generation? Who's the most likely to go see a movie?
The youngest demographic.
Exactly, the under 30 crowd. We are always saying it. The ones who also are most likely to watch horror and the ones who are going to consume media based on their upbringing. And Tim, what has Gen Z been raised on?
Oh, that would be YouTube.
Iron Lung, with the benefit of hindsight, was actually forecasting 2026 as a box office year because that was Markiplier, an influencer, putting together a film on his own, releasing it in theaters and making a profit. And now we have 2 examples of Hollywood mining YouTube for ideas, putting them on film and exploding because if people don't know, Backrooms is a YouTube thing. You can actually go to YouTube right now for free and watch the 2-hour and 50-minute entire story of Backrooms. And what I mean is every vignette they've done to date collated together. Or you can go see this movie, which takes that idea and puts a bunch of actors you like on film telling the same story. And it works.
It works, yes. It is based on something called a creepypasta, the most famous one of which, if they had not done this already, a Slender Man movie would make so much freaking money right now.
Yeah, the significance here is less the fact that these are, let's call them, affordably produced movies that are doing spectacularly well at the box office.
Call it what it is.
Cheap movies. It's more about what the source of these movies are. The Backroom started as a creepypasta a piece of content, a photograph, essentially, that somebody had shared on 4chan many years ago. And for what it's worth, for years, people didn't know where this photograph was taken. And just in the last 3 months, I think, have we actually discovered the real location of where that photograph was taken, which is just an incredible bit of investigation by the internet. And while Obsession is produced by, weirdly, a sketch comedian off of YouTube, which has a great parallel to Zach Krager, who's had a lot of success recently with movies like Barbarian and Weapons, who was also a sketch comedian, although not one on YouTube, who then moved on to make, let's again say, affordable horror movies. So, hey, if you're a sketch comedian out there these days, you might want to look into maybe directing some horror movies.
The key thing here we need to point out is these movies are also very good. Like Backrooms is 90% fresh at Rotten Tomatoes. Obsession is 96% fresh. So it's not just a matter of pandering to the audience. These people made good movies for these properties that they absolutely care for. And that is a big, big thing here.
In other words, when we have the influencers doing the stories and signing the deals with Hollywood, what they're saying is, I'm not going to put my name on this unless I have input in what's happening because this is my entire brand. So what we have for a change in Hollywood is investment in the product. I don't mean to be cynical about this, but you will not believe how rare that is because people go into this, they just want to make movies and they have their ideas and they start bastardizing premises. We're not seeing this here. And I want to be clear, it doesn't always work out because if you look at Backrooms, the cinema score for it is B-, which means the people who loved the YouTube videos for Backrooms have gone to the movie and gone, it's okay. They haven't loved it. B- is a pretty bad score for cinema score, actually.
Alternately, it could be people who didn't know what it was, not sure what they were getting into. So
exactly.
I think if you knew what it was, you probably loved it. But if you didn't, I'm not sure this is what you were expecting.
Yeah, and I think there is a lot of truth in that. So we're looking at this and we're seeing an A- film have the kind of legs we haven't seen, since My Big Fat Greek Wedding, Tim?
Oh, man. Yeah, it's not an exact direct comparison because that was a limited release that just grew over the course of months. But yeah, it certainly feels like it. A movie's not supposed to keep increasing on its third weekend, especially when the second weekend was a holiday weekend.
The film earning as much on its third Friday as its opening weekend, I can't think of an instance of that off my head. Now, we will do some researching and see what we can figure out, but it is the rarest of rare air. This should not be happening. So we've got two different box office stories this week that could be the two biggest box office stories of the entire year. And I'm saying that knowing that the tracking for Toy Story 5 suggests it's going to open north of 150 million. Oh, wow. So I want to make sure I'm not saying that randomly. We're looking at this and we are seeing poor baby Yoda get absolutely curb stomped.
It really did. A month ago, if you had suggested this, you would have been
laughed out of any room.
Yeah.
And then
this is wild.
This month, all the people who laughed at you would be trying to hire you, by the way, but that's a different conversation. So Rollo's kind of stressed this, but I want to go back because this is the way the system works now. Hollywood is seeing its power diminish more and more each month. Here is the blueprint example of this. We've been stressing it for a while now, but you're seeing it. This isn't Hollywood deciding on these two films. This is Silicon Valley's content. This is YouTube content that Hollywood is realizing, well, this has an audience. Let's make it cheap and see what happens. And that big swing has hit a grand slam. If you are someone right now with influence, you leverage that influence into an idea, you platform that idea, and then you try and get Hollywood interested enough that they will take a low-risk opportunity, and you get two of these in the same weekend. And it is just stunning to watch unfold. But we think this is the way Hollywood can save itself if people can stop being so stubborn and egotistical and accept the fact that the way things were 10 years ago no longer apply. And that's what we've been preaching this whole time throughout the pandemic. The old playbook no longer works. This is like, in basketball terms, there was a day where Dean Smith realized there is going to be a shot clock. I can't do my four corners offense anymore. I have to adapt and innovate. Hollywood has done neither of those things thus far until right now, this second. So what I'm telling you is, if you have a horror pitch, you will never find a more receptive audience than on Monday morning.
Okay, thank you everybody for that great discussion. Let's go ahead and move into the ratings.
So we have the Nielsen streaming ratings, not from Nielsen themselves, from Monday, April 27th to Sunday, May 3rd, 2026. And yeah, I just think things are going to be kind of bleak, but let's see what we have. Your top original series is, of course, The Boys, 947 million minutes for 37 episodes from Prime Video. There's 3 episodes to go that we'll get in the ratings. I'm wondering if this is the peak. Maybe not. I think even though this season is not well received, I think people are just committed to it at this point. They're just going to stick it out because they're certainly not doing that with another show that's in its final season on these ratings. So sure, this is fine. It's also your top show on this list overall. So again, nothing over 1 billion. Ugh. Number 2 is Running Point, not that Lakers show, 900 million minutes for its 20 episodes and 2 seasons. Nice little jump for the full week of its second season, up from 772 million last week. New in third, Man on Fire, 805 million minutes for its 7-episode season after premiering on April 30th. Yeah, about what I expected. Chance it jumps enough next week to be the top original show. This was pretty intense, right, Roel?
Yeah, very much an R-rated action thriller from Netflix with copious amounts of violence.
The Pit, it's season complete, 583 million minutes, 30 episodes from HBO Max, sliding down the list. New in fifth, Should I Marry a Murderer? 535 million minutes for 3 episodes. AI helpfully tells me that no, marrying a murderer is extremely unsafe, legally risky, and psychologically harmful. So that should answer that question. I did not ask for that question. I just Googled the show title to get some information on it, and that was what it told me. So, okay, good to know. I'm probably on some sort of list now. This, of course, is a true crime documentary series that premiered on April 29th. Unchosen, that actually premiered on the ratings last week, is still here in 6th, 420 million minutes for 6 episodes from Netflix, British psychological thriller series. Okay, yeah, we did talk about this one on What's New for that week. I do remember that. Hulk Hogan, Real American, docuseries, 376 million minutes for 4 episodes. Very slight bump for its full week from last week. Not a surprise. Probably won't see it again, hopefully. $1 Million Secret, also still here at 375 million minutes for 16 episodes and 2 seasons. Ms. Rachel makes another appearance, 361 million minutes for its 8 episodes, and Invincible from Prime Video, 33 episodes, 352 million minutes. Movies is still led by Apex, 697 million minutes. Oh, that's not a good number to start out with. So this is going to be a pretty bleak movies chart. Because in second, we have Swapped, 503 million minutes from Netflix. This is a original animated movie from Netflix that arrived on May 1st. I know we talked about this one as well because Netflix always puts out these original animated ones. Apparently it's bigger than what these numbers indicate from the ratings based on Netflix's info, but I wonder if that's a lot of second screen viewing, which is not captured on these ratings.
Yeah, for some press that was released, Swapped is the record holder for...
It apparently somehow topped K-pop Demon Hunters, which I citation needed.
It has to do first and foremost with the single week opening record having beat not K-pop Demon Hunters, but the Sea Beast. You guys remember the Sea Beast,
of course. That's right. Yes.
What's significant about this is multifold. First, it's from Skydance Animation, which was led by John Lasseter. I don't know if he's still in charge of that, but Skydance Animation is also the studio that made a number of animated movies for Apple TV.
Oh gosh, I remember. Okay, I remember when we talked about it on What's New. This one has actually been on the shelf for a couple years.
Yep, I do believe it was Luck, a movie that they made for Apple TV that was the last nail in the coffin where Apple TV said, you know, guys, I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. And then Skydance Animation took their animated movies over to Netflix. Yeah, I watched Luck and I understand why Apple TV maybe finally washed their hands of it.
Yeah, that was a famous animated flop. Oh my. Okay, yes, for that. That's right. I remember this discussion now. I don't know whether that made the podcast, but yes, it was destined for Apple TV at one point. But after that whole fiasco, landed on Netflix approximately 2 years after it was made. More pre-gaming after it appeared last week as The Devil Wears Prada, the original one, 328 million minutes, and third, credited to HBO Max and Hulu as the sequel arrives in theaters this week. And then we just completely fall off a cliff. Zootopia 2 is fourth, 202 million minutes from Disney Plus. We have flipped the calendar to May, so we have a couple of things that arrived on May 1st, one of which is former Best Picture winner Green Book, 176 million minutes. So we're sub 200 and we're in 5th place. Oh boy. But yeah, it was new to Netflix on May 1st. That's why it's here. K-pop Demon Hunters, 153 million minutes. Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Balls Up is 750 million minutes from Prime Video. At least one more new thing in 8th, Begonia, 137 million minutes from Netflix. This was a Best Picture nominee, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm
Yes,
excited to see this is on streaming. I'll probably try to watch this weekend.
Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. Not a great number, but interesting to point out that it was a critical darling in the past year. Crime 101 is 9th, 136 million minutes, and we wrap up this terrible, terrible movies chart with Despicable Me 4, 131 million minutes from Peacock. Acquired is 9 shows we have seen before, and it's led by our one new show, La Brea, 881 million minutes for 30 episodes, credited to Netflix and Peacock. It's more Netflixing, folks, because this was an NBC series that aired through 2024, so it's probably been on Peacock the entire time, but guess what? It's 3 seasons showed up on Netflix on May 1st, so that is why it is here.
We are seeing a pattern of these series that drop all episodes on Netflix, and it gets this rush of viewership and then almost immediately drops off.
Yeah, I don't expect this one to have a long life on this list. It was just 3 seasons, 30 episodes. It was never really particularly popular or well reviewed, so I think it's people just checking it out because Netflix told them to, and yeah, maybe we see it next week, but I wouldn't actually be surprised if we don't see it again after this.
I will say that the first couple of episodes had really, really great ratings, and then it kind of collapsed after that, after everyone realized that they didn't have anything beyond the premise. And the other thing I'm going to do is, Peacock, I'm going to give you this one for free. Just don't bother with anything else. Just do all Love Island all the time. If you're good at one thing, don't do 20 things. Do the one thing as much as you can.
Just go all in on Love Island and The Traitors. That's about all we can expect from you, Peacock.
Rename your subscription service the Love Island channel. You'll do better.
Seriously, that must be coming. I'm sure there's a new season of that is right around the corner as we're approaching the warmer months. I did drop a hint discussing The Boys, but Euphoria is still here on the acquired chart, but it's down to 9th, 592 million minutes for 20 episodes. Last week it had 658 million minutes. So viewers are fleeing this one. They're watching the first couple episodes and saying, no, I think I'm good. They're not really invested in this one as they are with The Boys. So I do find that interesting, as this show has just become a hate watching train wreck. But yeah, not a great time in the ratings right now. Thank God box office was interesting.
All right. Thank you, Tim. In our green lights and cancellations this week, Prime Video has ordered 3 generative AI animated series.
Boo!
Just why?
I guess this is allowed, but I don't know who's really going to watch for this.
Right? Who's going to watch?
I imagine animation unions, if there is even such a thing, have no standing, and that studios can just go ahead and animate anything through Gen AI. Having seen generative AI generated content, I have a pretty good feel for what it looks like. It doesn't quite yet cross that uncanny valley. You could usually still tell when it's Gen AI, and I have no interest. Of course, these are kids programming. Children probably won't care. It's my understanding that they will still use professionally written scripts and talent to produce the content, as well as voice acting. And so it's only the animation that's Gen AI, but it just looks like slop that they're using to shovel onto their video platform. And that's sad.
I say we get kids used to looking at things with dead eyes right now, because you never know when they might in 20 years get stuck at a Morgan Wallen concert.
Cooper Hoffman has been cast in the pilot for Durango on Hulu.
I imagine the most significant thing here is that Cooper Hoffman is the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman. The plot is interesting, as he plays a former professional snowboarder who, after an injury, now is just coasting through life and ends up in a romantic yet dramatic situation as he agrees to marry someone in order to get them a green card, and drama ensues. This is just a pilot. No indication yet as to whether or not a series is going to come of this, but this could be something of a hit on Hulu if it moves ahead.
The Testaments, Hulu Hulu's sequel to The Handmaid's Tale has gotten a second season.
Definitely a vote of confidence in the success of season 1. Evidently, Hulu is not done yet telling this story of dystopian America, which every day seems to be sadly more and more akin to real life.
Paramount Plus had a bit of a crisis this week as Tom Hardy was fired from Mobland after the end of production of season 2.
That'll show him.
Or was he?
Oh, never mind.
I mean, if we're looking at this from the green lights and cancellations perspective, the indication here is that there will be a Mobland season 3, and it will probably have Tom Hardy in it. But my understanding is that in order for that to happen, pretty much everyone around him is just have to get a raise. He's not a fun guy to get along with.
No, it does not sound like he is. Netflix has announced that Emily in Paris, or as Tim likes to call it, Emily in Paris, will end with its 6th season.
Stranger Things was 5 seasons. Does this make it a record?
Not as long as Virgin River lives and breathes.
Yeah, I was like, Virgin River's on 7. So.
Yeah. Starz has revealed that its Spartacus spinoff, House of Asher, is done after only 1 season.
Do another spinoff called Fall of the House of Asher. You're welcome.
No, this is probably fallout from the writer's strike. I would suspect that if a Spartacus spinoff had come out a couple of years earlier, it might have done better. Spartacus was a bit of a hit for Starz for a number of years. The fact that they got their spinoff so many years after the original Spartacus ended pretty much sealed the fate of this.
And over on Tubi, the Fox streaming service, they've picked up the Scooby-Doo anime series, Yokoso Scooby-Doo, with Matthew Lillard and Frank Welker reprising their roles as the voices of Shaggy and Scooby.
Folks, Frank Welker is 80. This news is cool.
It's pretty impressive. You should check out the sample art that's been put out. It is a different take on the Mystery Inc. gang. So some people are definitely going to be upset about that. But what are we doing here, Warner Brothers? How are your new animated series coming out on Tubi? I'm not taking anything away from Tubi here. They're basically the home for all Warner Brothers animation at this point. But Warner Brothers, what the hell, guys?
As always, we close it out with what's been keeping us busy over the last week. And, well, David and I, we went to Disney World. I'm going to talk about the thing that I liked the best, although we did experience many things, many of them new, but I just was thoroughly delighted with Rockin' Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. The roller coaster itself, its trajectory and speed haven't changed, but they've changed the line cue. They've added a lot of little Easter eggs. It is just 100 times more fun than it had been in the past. I always said I will never ride that again. It gives me a headache, but this time I'm like, yeah, I would totally ride this again. So they may have just done a little reskin, but what they did was incredibly impactful and effective, and I truly appreciated it.
Let me just say that it's tragic that we had to lose Muppet Vision 3D for this to become a thing. But the fact that we now have what is essentially a new Muppets themed attraction at Walt Disney World is something to be celebrated. And much like Kim, I am not a fan of roller coasters, much less ones that will turn you around and upside down as the Rock and Roller Coaster does. But I have seen the promotion about the Rock and Roller Coaster and how they themed it for Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. They have really put a lot of love into that. Previously, it was themed on Aerosmith, the famous popular Disney band Aerosmith. So I'm glad they have rethemed it. I feel strongly they made a good choice theming it on the Muppets. And this may, in fact, convince me to get onto a roller coaster that spins you around and upside down for a change. So I'm glad to hear about Kim's vote of confidence.
Yeah, I'm not joking around. It is exactly the same ride, just with the Muppets and other music rather than Aerosmith. And she had 100% said she was never going to ride the old version again. So having the Muppets on there made her that happy.
It really did. And I will say this too. We were extremely lucky in that the song we got was Def Leppard. So we got Rock Rock Till You Drop. So we were really happy about that. My only regret that I will say about it is that the cast members were really trying to usher people through the line quickly. So I didn't have as much time to appreciate some of the nice little touches and effort that was put into this. Because let me tell you that the Imagineers really were thoughtful about it. Raul, what's been keeping you busy?
I can't say I watched anything new this week in streaming. I did watch Widow's Bay again on Apple TV this week, and they had 2 episodes. The first one complements the second one very nicely. It remains hilarious and yet frightening series to watch. Every time you watch one of these episodes, there's a horror element that makes you think, oh, they're surely not going to go that way. That just seems too unrealistic. And then they go exactly that way. And it is just hilarious. I love it. It is also frightening, but the latest 2 episodes of Widow's Bay were a lot of fun.
All right, Tim, what's been keeping you busy?
I myself don't have much this week. I've been super busy. I am dying for some sort of game I can just drop 100 hours on out of nowhere over the next few weeks, but not too much. Just dabbled here and there with things like some old standbys like Slay the Spire 2, some Monster Train 2. So, the card deck building games, always a good way to just kill a few minutes. Slay the Spire 2, you can't go wrong with that one. You're always disappointed or excited how each run goes. I will hopefully find something to watch and play over the next couple weeks. Please release awesome games soon. Studios, developers, please give me something.
All right, and David, take us home.
The heat index was 107 and 109 degrees on 2 days, where Kim and I started the parks first thing in the morning, and I'm talking like in the 7 a.m. hour, and we're at the parks until, close to midnight. So we were giving it our all, and we were struggling. I mean, we would have to go back and change clothes and shower because it was getting to be so much. But Walt Disney World has added a dozen new experiences just in May of this year, almost all of which are permanent. And we wanted to be there for the start of them. And there is a Soarin' Across America just for America's 250th anniversary. And it's spectacular. It is absolutely gorgeous. There are shots of the Grand Canyon. There's a shot of mountains in Alaska that is breathtaking. We loved it. But for me, the best thing that we saw among the new stuff, it really was the Muppets. And I think that's interesting because I liked Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith fine. Kim was never a fan because it was so rough. But the love and care they show with the characters on the new version of the ride is impressive. And on top of that, they have also updated Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. It's slightly slower now. I don't love that, but I understand why the change was made because it's also more kid-friendly at this point, which frankly most Disney rides should be. And then they also updated Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin to make it more modern. You can actually take the laser pistol out, move it around yourself, and you can clearly tell when you have hit your target now, which was a huge problem with the old one. Unless you were staring at your console at the scoreboard, you couldn't tell. Now the thing spins, it lights up, it is obvious, and I really, really like that. Disney is winning incrementally. I'm actually writing an article you can read on Mickey Blog next week that will make this point. They are making modest changes, all of which slightly improve the park. And when you add them up, the totality of them tells the story. There have been really great quality of life updates at Walt Disney World in 2026. However, I don't know when we're planning to visit again because the temperature really has become adversarial is the best way to describe it. It was kicking our tails this week. So we're going to have to go in, February or November from now on to protect ourselves health-wise because I think both of us are going to spend a lot of time in bed this week because we're so roughed up. It was magical, though, wasn't it, Kim?
It was magical. Just anyone who is ever thinking of visiting Disney World between the months of May and probably September, beware, it is oppressively hot. Thank you for listening to Streaming Into the Void. Please consider subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts, and we welcome your feedback. Remember that we're on social media at Streaming Void and online at streamingvoid.com. If you like what you're hearing, please consider becoming a supporter on Patreon at patreon.com/streamingvoid. Be sure to watch for us again next week.